Alright everybody, welcome back to another week of remote learning. As you can see, this week's lesson and focus is going to be on different types of notes. This is a review for all of you, but it's been several weeks since we've talked about notes and really sort of seen notes, written notes, so that's going to be the focus for this week. I want to give you a fair warning now that I will be asking you to take written notes and turn those in at the end of this lesson. So please make sure to heed those directions when we get to them. Of course, we want to start with the aim for this lesson, which is how do we tell different types of notes apart? Let's do it. So we've said in previous lessons that music is organized sound, and as musicians, we call those sounds notes. We also use the word note to refer to the written symbols that represent the musical sounds that we hear. In this way, music notes are like letters of the alphabet. For instance, the letter A we know makes the sound A. When you see this written symbol, like in the word cat, k, a, t, you see that letter A, you know what sound to make. In the English alphabet, there are 26 different letters that all make different sounds. Similarly, there are several different types of notes. And here's the part where I want you guys to start taking some notes. So just the directions here. Draw a line down the middle of a sheet of paper. Dibuja una línea hacia abajo, así. 2. Draw a line across the middle of your paper. Dibuja otra línea en el medio del papel. And number 3, in each quadrant, draw the following symbols, their names, and descriptions. También en cual cuadrante dibuja los símbolos, los nombres, y las descripciones. Okay, now in the top left corner where you see the number 1 in the model there, we're going to write the word whole note. En la esquina superior izquierda, por favor, escribe las palabras whole note. To draw a whole note, simply draw a circle. So draw a circle in that rectangle on your paper. A whole note is just made up of a head. You should also write the words head with the arrow there. We want to know that that circle part of the note is called a head. Please note that a computer makes it look like this, but you do not have to draw it like this. In fact, I prefer if you do not draw it like this. Just draw a circle. A simple circle is perfect. Okay, for a half note, now we're in the second box. Ahora estamos en la segunda cuadrante. You can write the word half note. Escribe las palabras half note. To draw a half note, start the same as a whole note. Draw a circle, a simple circle. Then draw a line going up like the letter D. It has a head, just like the whole note. It also has what's called a stem. That line that goes up is called a stem. Please label both on your notes in the second quadrant. Moving on to quadrant 3. I want you to write the words quarter note. Ahora escribe las palabras quarter note en la tercer cuadrante. To draw a quarter note, start the same as a half note. So you have the head and the stem, but then we're also going to shade in the head. This is what differentiates a quarter note from a half note, is that the head is shaded in. It has a head, has a stem. Moving on to quadrant 4. Cuadrante 4. Escribe las palabras eighth note. To draw an eighth note, start the same as a quarter note. You have a head that is shaded in with a stem, and then draw what's called a flag. It looks like that. Looks like a flag hanging off of a flag pole. 2 or more eighth notes might be joined by a beam, and you can go ahead and draw this in the same rectangle where you drew the single eighth note with the flag. Draw 2 more eighth notes connected with a beam. We've seen how these notes look different, and some of them have different parts, but how do they sound different? Duration. What is duration? Duration is length of time. So, for instance, we've talked about the duration of a song on the radio or a typical movie, typical weekend. How long is a weekend? How long is a summer break? And of course, the answer to all of these questions is going to be given in different units of time. So a song on the radio would be a few minutes, maybe 3 minutes. A typical movie, you could say in hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 1.5 hours. A weekend, a couple days, right? If it's a long weekend, then it's maybe 3 days or 4 days. The summer break, 2 months. So all of these are units of time. With music notes, it's a little bit different. We use number of beats. So instead of number of minutes or hours, we're using number of beats. So let's go back to our notes and back to that first quadrant where you've written the words whole note and you have a picture of a whole note there. And go ahead and write this as well. A whole note is 4 beats long. And because of that, if you remember our lesson from last week, we said that a measure is 4 beats long. If a measure is 4 beats long, then only one whole note would be able to fit inside of it. Mis estudiantes hispanohablantes, por favor, escribir estas notas también, las duraciones y cuántos de cada tipo de nota pueden caber en un compás. Moving on to that second quadrant where we have the half note. A half note, by contrast, is 2 beats long. And because a measure is 4 beats, we can fit 2 half notes. A quarter note, moving on to the third quadrant, the duration is 1 beat. And therefore, 4 of them can fit in a measure. And finally, the fourth quadrant, an eighth note. The duration, well, we're not quite ready for that yet. We will talk about it in future lessons. So here we have pictures of all the different types of notes, starting out with whole notes, which are 4 beats long, half notes, which are 2 beats long, quarter notes, and eighth notes, which we'll talk about in the future. So let's hear these notes now in relation to the beat. I'm going to say the words ta and tt on the eighth notes, and I'm also going to clap my hands. Feel free to do those things with me if you like. Let's begin. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Ta, 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 ti, 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 ta. Okay, that was good. Let's take it up a few notches, a little faster. 1, 2, here we go. Ta, 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 ti, 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 ta. Alright guys, hopefully this is a good refresher for you guys. You will need this for your Soundtrap assignment this week, so just make sure that you understand what's going on. In terms of your notes, I do expect you guys to turn it in, so here's what you have to do. I want you to take a photo of your notes from earlier. You can use a phone. If you're using a Chromebook or a laptop, it most likely has a built-in camera that you can use. Whatever device you can use to take a digital photo, then you can attach that photo in your assignment in the Google Classroom, and then you can go ahead and submit that work. If you have any questions or you need help completing this assignment, please let me know by leaving a comment on the assignment or email me. Para entregar el trabajo, toma una foto de las notas de antes, entonces adjunten la foto a la tarea. Si tienen alguna pregunta, por favor dejen un comentario en la tarea o envíenme un correo electrónico. Thanks guys, please look out for your Soundtrap assignment tomorrow, and I'll see you soon. Peace.